Welcome to the Box Score Sports Podcast.
Okay, so let's go ahead and do our exit interview for the Denver Nuggets. If you are watching this on YouTube, feel free to leave a comment down below on your thoughts on the Denver Nuggets season. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's get into the Nuggets season. Clint, they finished third in the Western Conference, bounced out in the first round after finishing 54-28 against the Timberwolves. So let's talk about some of the pros throughout the season. Now, obviously, they dealt with some injuries, but let's hit on some pros. Hit me with maybe a pro, and then I'll hit you up with one, and we'll keep going back and forth until we have none left.
Yeah, I thought one of the pros was Jokic had an injury, and we thought that might sink their season, and they were pretty good in those games. They stayed afloat. They had the health of Gordon and Murray at that time, but that seemed like a good omen for the season when Jokic missed, and instead of just tanking through the standings down where we're like maybe they're going to have to be in the play-in, they kind of held the ship. I think they were above 500 in those minutes. So to me, that was one of the pros. They get kind of thin at, I think, based on how the season ended, but they showed the flashes there of, all right, maybe we still got it.
Yeah, and with that said, Murray, like he had his best regular season. He was 25-7 and 43% from three. He played 75 games, which, we needed to see from him because his durability is always kind of in the balance. So good regular season from Murray. I'll give you a pro of mine was Peyton Watson. I think his season was really good. He had 14-5 and steals two stocks. So steals and blocks, stocks a game, averaged that a game. And he shot 41% from three. He's kind of the perfect 3-and-D guy to put next to Murray and Jokic. And he can guard even smaller people because he's not as heavy as like Gordon. So him and Gordon together ideally would be kind of like a really good defensive combo on the perimeter. But when we got to the playoffs, which we'll talk about in a second, neither one were available. But that I think was a pro is Peyton Watson.
Yeah, I think Aaron Gordon too, his shooting. I mean, when he got to Denver, it was like, let's leave the dude open. Mm-hmm. And now I think he was over 40% from three, especially from the corner. So he really expanded his game. Again, we talk about how the season ended, maybe not so much, but pros during the season is, I mean, he really became a knockdown shooter.
Yeah. Okay. Any other pros?
No, I just put like that 13 game streak at the end kind of showed like flashes of the good old Nuggets, I guess, sure, even though it's not that long ago. So I think going into the playoffs, it looked like they had it in them.
Yeah, and again, like you mentioned, number one offense, that's really good. Let's get into some cons. I'll start with a con, and I will just say, let's start with Gordon's health. And this is kind of derailed. We can talk about the playoffs too as part of that con, but it's kind of derailed the last two seasons for them. Like he couldn't finish and really be effective, I should say, in Game 7 of the Thunder series last year because of his health. I think he had injuries the year before as well. And I just think with that in the balance every single year, it's just really hard to know what to do moving forward with Gordon. So that to me is a con coming out of the season is just the inconsistency of health with Aaron Gordon because of what he means to that team.
For sure. It feels like him and Murray sometimes just flip. Murray's been, he was healthy this year, but
right.
If Murray wasn't hurt, Gordon's been hurt. And that really, on a team like the Nuggets that are going for it, especially in the West, it just really derails you.
Yeah. And then Watson getting injured at the end of the year was a con too. Give me one of your cons.
I just put toughness. They didn't seem to have that tough mentality, especially when it got put on them. When Minnesota kind of called their bluff and said, "This is what we're going to do. We're going to come at you. We're going to play physical." They didn't really respond, and that was kind of alarming for a team that's been there, won a title, been in the playoffs. especially against Minnesota. Like they don't really like each other. It's one of the few like real rivalries we have in the NBA where the teams kind of hate each other.
Right.
You would think, I mean, even if you're going to lose the series, you would go out playing physical, no layups. We're going to make the guy pick himself off the floor, not even flagrant fouls. And the toughest the Nuggets looked was when Jokic went after McDaniels for a layup with like 2 seconds left in the game.
Right. Yeah, I think that's a good point. And again, like I guess maybe you could argue like they're tough guys is like Gordon and Watson at this point, and neither one of them were on the court consistently. But yeah, just again, we talked about it when we talked about their series, even like Jokic just letting people go to the rim and not contesting, like at the very least contest the shot, right? So yeah. Murray's end of season playoff performance, not great. 35% from the field, 26% from three. It was rough. That's also a con. And then Christian Brown's contract I have down. Shot 30% from three, and he's not really the defensive player they thought he was going to be. And I just think like that's a rough contract moving forward.
Yep, he was my next one I was going to get
Okay.
to with cons. Like that contract's just starting basically. I believe the extension starts this coming year. Just if maybe it was coming off injury, like maybe he wasn't 100% and he was just toughing it out. But I mean, he didn't have confidence to shoot open shots. He's just standing in the dunker spot. It looks really rough, and maybe it's just a bad year and things will turn around. But uh, he was a real letdown for the season.
Yeah, totally agree with that. Okay, any other cons for you?
Just like a minor one. Like I don't know if it has to do with coaching. Like Edelman came through in the playoffs for him last year after they brought him in. But then again, the way this year ended, like I don't know, did he lose the locker room already? Is he, not what we thought? But I mean, I think that's on the lower end of what happened to them.
Yeah. No, that's fair. I would say Valanciunas' playoff minutes were a little concerning. He only played six. We were really excited, averaged about six a game. But like we were really excited about him being the backup for Jokic to give Jokic some meaningful time off during some games. And it's just like um did not utilize that enough, I think. So that's another con. Small con, but con nonetheless.
Sure.
Because like I guess like my thought is like would Jonas been as bad as Jokic on defense? Like I don't know if you're losing anything on defense, you're losing a little on offense, but you give Jokic rest, which he needs to rest during these games. So I guess like that's my thought. Okay, let's talk about what we would have done different this season for the Nuggets. What would you have done? Anything different?
I mean, they probably should have started by not paying Christian Brown that money,
Sure,
especially
right.
now that it's going to be difficult with Peyton Watson due for a contract, which they can pay him. But they're owners kind of notoriously cheap with not doing that. But I guess outside of that, I think you probably want to redo the Michael Porter Jr. trade.
Mm, yeah.
Um, I think that really not so much during the season, and Cam Johnson had a good last game of the series, but I think some of the worries we had about his ball handling, being a second or third creator, I think really showed up against Minnesota. They didn't have to worry about Cam Johnson like breaking down the defense and getting to a 17-foot pull up, which isn't an awesome shot, but when you're a good shooter like Porter Jr. and you can get over, shoot over anyone, I think they really missed that against Minnesota.
Yeah, I agree. I guess like the only thing I would ask is like, is it going to change that series? Like maybe because maybe McDaniels has to guard Porter Jr. instead of Murray, so Murray gets a lesser defender. But I just think like Porter Jr. wasn't known for his toughness either. Like he shrunk back in playoff moments as well. I think that's part of the reason why they kind of want to move on from him. But it definitely like he probably would have been better than Johnson, but I just don't know if it would have been enough for them to even get out of this series anyway, if that makes sense.
That's fair too, but they'd also have a first round pick. They
That
also
that
traded away a first round pick to get Cam Johnson. So.
that is 100% fair. Okay, grade the season before we get into the off season.
So I gave him 2 stars.
That's what I did too. Yeah.
wasn't like a train wreck. The regular season was actually kind of fine, but again, this Nuggets team was, we got to go far in the playoffs, and a first round exit doesn't live up.
Okay, and I also gave him 2 stars, but I'll just add to it because again, I'm not about when you get eliminated, I'm like who eliminates you. And when you get eliminated by a team that doesn't have Edwards and DiVincenzo and AO goes off for like 40 points and then he's not in, that to me was like inexcusable to the point where I would have probably, like, if it was the normal Minnesota team, I would have been like, oh, okay, like 3.5 stars. They had a really good season, but like it was just so, in my opinion, like embarrassing for the level of play we expect from them and how far we thought they would go if the competition is weak enough. They should have got out of that series and they didn't. And so 2 stars is good. I like that.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay, let's talk about their off season. So in June, I do have their off season thanks to Bobby Marks. I just like copy and paste what he has. So some of the things to kind of remember is that Peyton Watson is a restricted free agent, and so is Spencer Jones, who played kind of critical playoff minutes. Jonas Valanciunas is on a partially guaranteed contract, and in June, it looks like they do have their 26th and 29th pick this year. So, Clint, what do you see them doing maybe, or what questions do you have about this offseason for the Nuggets?
So I know that reports have come out that everyone but Jokic could be available for trade. So they just got to figure out, are we retooling? You have Jokic, you're not just punting away this team. They're going to go down with the ship, kind of like the Bucks have. So what are they going to do to kind of retool to compete? Like, you're probably not going to get to OKC, San Antonio level, but you don't have to when you have one of the best offensive players. Like, you just got to be in the ballpark, and then the variance can kick in. So they got to figure out how to keep that defensive toughness, because Jokic just slipped. We didn't really hit about it in cons, but defensively he looked really, really bad in that series. How can we retool around this to just be in that competitive bracket of those two teams?
Yeah, I agree. So let me ask you, do you think they should just retool, or do because obviously, like you said, it was stated only Jokic is untouchable, basically, or do you think they should like make a big swing, sort of, kind of like the Bucks did with Lillard when and then Lillard was just injured a bunch. But do you think that they should make a big swing for someone and trade either Gordon or Murray or Johnson even?
Yeah, I think we talked about it before. I think Jokic probably doesn't want Murray to go.
Mm-hmm.
Probably doesn't want Gordon to go. You can't have your cake and eat it too. If I'm them, you may have a short window here where you can kind of squeak one in. I would, if it's out there, if Cam Johnson and Christian Brown and whatever picks make money work to get someone that a team is willing to do, I think I would go all in and try to squeak one out.
Yeah, I looked it up. They don't have any first round picks to trade this offseason, so it's got to be like somebody like wants Christian Brown or they want Cam Johnson. That's really what it comes down to. So you're probably going to be trading down at that point because of the contracts, but we'll see what happens. I put one thing they should definitely do is re-sign Watson. They are over the luxury tax, but they're not in the second apron yet. And you might just bite that bullet and then figure it out at the trade deadline. Don't, like, obviously you got to, right? Like, you got until the end of this next season. So just, if you're really worried about getting under the second apron or whatever, just re-sign Watson, figure it out at the trade deadline, and keep him, because you can't lose him, in my opinion, just because what he meant defensively for him and the leap he took this year.
Yeah, you cannot, like, he's a young guy. They let KCP go, fine. Like, he was older. They could have kept him and maybe used him as a trade, but they were kind of right. He's really fallen off. But you can't he's restricted too, so that usually dampens down the market on him. But who knows? Like, maybe someone going to challenge Denver on it because they know they can kind of go cheap.
Yeah, correct. Okay, long shot. What's your long shot for them? Like the long shot move they can make, or you'd like to see them make, or if you don't have one, that's fine too.
Now, I wrote down one for all these teams for the Nuggets. And, maybe because he's on the last year of his deal. If I'm the Nuggets, I call about Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah.
If you can somehow get Kawhi, whether it's like a 2033 pick, whatever the Nuggets have out in the 2030s that they can trade, and the contracts of Brown and Cam Johnson, I think it's $50 million. So you're getting close. If you can pull that off, I know it's an injury risk, and you already have that with Gordon, and you already have that with Murray, but you're going to need defense around Jokic. And if you can have Kawhi and Aaron Gordon and Peyton Watson to surround in these units, I think that, that might give you enough to be a little competitive.
Yeah, that's a good one. And I guess the question is could you also get a third team involved where the Clippers get a pick or whatever? Because I don't know if they will give up Kawhi without a pick or something like that, or a young prospect, at least, right? So you might need to get a third team involved. With that, I also had a couple of long shots. My long shot for the Nuggets on the Nuggets end of it is not that exciting, but if there was a way you could get Herb Jones. That was young player, defensive. He had a little bit of a drop off as far as his 3-point shooting this year. But, you put someone next to Jokic and every shot is wide open, he's probably going to look a little better. I just thought maybe if you could give up Brown, talk, what's his name? Troy Weaver into Christian Brown or again, get a third team involved where the Pelicans are getting some sort of pick. I think that might, be a good long shot for them where they're just retooling around the edges and you keep Murray and Gordon and Jokic. So
yeah, that's a good one.
Okay, for everybody watching on YouTube, let us know in the comments down below what we got right, what we got wrong, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Clint, anything else on the Nuggets?
I don't think so. It's a pivotal season for them. I mean, I feel like I can relate as a Bucks fan. We were here a couple of years ago. Flags fly forever, but this is where you reach the inflection point.
There you go. Okay, let's move on to our next team then. Thanks so much for watching this clip of the Box Score Sports podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to our channel. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter or X. And we'll talk to you guys real soon. See ya.